Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back for a Tuesday edition of the Steel City Sports Report, where we talk all things Steelers, Penguins, and Pirates. I am your host, Brady Vini, and today's report includes George Pickens calls out NFL officiating on Instagram, starting goaltenders for the Penguins and Kings tonight are revealed, and the Pirates have already cut ties with this recently acquired player. As always, please be sure to like, comment, and share this video and subscribe to the channel. Now let's get into the first news story of the day. George Pickens calls out NFL officiating on Instagram. You don't have to be a professional football analyst to know that the Steelers did not play well on Sunday against the Eagles. You also don't need to be a professional football analyst to know that the referees had a very poorly officiated game that greatly favored the Eagles. The biggest example of lackluster officiating from Sunday's game was when Steelers tight end Darnell Washington blocked Eagles corner Darius Slay out of the end zone and near the low-level seats. After Washington finished his block, video clearly shows Slade throwing a punch at Washington before multiple players from both teams quickly came into the picture. In that scrum, Steelers wide receiver Calvin Austin briefly locked up with another Eagles corner in Quinion Mitchell, with Mitchell throwing a second punch. After all players were separated, officials conferred and ended up calling two personal foul penalties on the play, both on the Steelers' Washington and Austin. Steelers head coach Mike Tomlin had a disgusted yet hilarious reaction in real time to the Steelers being penalized, telling one official, "Get the away from me." Post-game, referee Alan Eck said he didn't see or hear anything warranting a penalty on the Eagles, saying, "No punches were observed on the field. Since we had flags down, it gave New York an opportunity to review the play as well. There was no video evidence of punches observed by the Philadelphia Eagles." Saying there were no punches observed is absolutely insane. There was one official looking right at Slay when he punched Washington, and multiple others near the pile of players for the second punch. If every single official on the field, plus those reviewing the play in New York, legitimately did not see one thing worth penalizing the Eagles, then they are a walking advertisement for LASIK eye surgery. Fans aren't the only ones outraged at the egregious rules enforcement, as Steelers wide receiver George Pickens commented on the NFL on CBS's Instagram post of the fight. But y'all don't think it's a vendetta against the Steelers. Pickens has had a grudge with officiating for most of the season, and he's probably going to pay a nice fine for that comment. But he may be right. I guess he forgot to switch over to his Michael Brewerly account before posting that. What do you guys think of this? Did the Steelers get screwed by the refs, and do you agree with Pickens? Let me know in the comments below. Starting goaltenders for the Penguins and Kings tonight are revealed. It's a hockey night in Pittsburgh, as tonight the Pittsburgh Penguins look to have a bounce-back performance at PPG Paints Arena against the Los Angeles Kings. With that, here's a few notes going into tonight's game, as well as the starting goaltenders for both teams. Firstly, the Penguins have made their choice on a replacement for injured defenseman Marcus Pettersson, recalling right-handed defenseman Nathan Clerman from the AHL. In 16 games down in Wilkes-Barre this season, Clerman has 1 goal and 4 assists with a positive 3+-. Next, Penguins forward Blake Lizotte will play against his former team for the very first time. Lizotte spent the first 6 years of his career out in LA, but now in his first season with Pittsburgh, he seems to have found another element to his game, recording 11 points in his first 16 games. Lastly, Penguins head coach Mike Sullivan confirmed that Alex Nedeljkovic will be starting in net for the Pens tonight, his first start since December 6th. Ned will be opposite Darcy Kemper for the Kings, and puck drop for tonight's game is scheduled for 7 p.m. And finally, the Pirates are already cutting ties with this recently acquired player. Well, it looks like dumpster diving for players on other teams to fill big holes on the roster already isn't paying off for Pirates general manager Ben Cherington. In early November, the Pirates claimed outfielder Trey Cabbage off of waivers from the Houston Astros. In 2024, the 27-year-old Cabbage played in just 45 games for the Stros, hitting .209 with 1 home run, 8 RBIs, and a .590 OPS. Now, just a little over a month later, the Bucs have already released Cabbage per the MLB's transaction page. According to the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette's Pirates reporter Andrew Destin, Cabbage was granted his release so he could go overseas and sign with the Yomiuri Giants of Nippon Professional Baseball. Don't worry, Pirates fans, I'm sure Cherington is working very hard to bring in someone who can match the production of Cabbage. The Pirates GM has a lot of work to do, especially now that opening day is just 100 days away. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, that wraps up a Tuesday edition of the Steel City Sports Report. Again, please be sure to like, comment, and share this video, and subscribe to the channel. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you guys back here tomorrow with some more Pittsburgh sports news.